Hello again. This is Jana Martin. I'm the media production manager here at A3 on the Automate Live desk again today. And joining me now for a special panel about automation education are two folks, one from the industry and one from Project Lead the Way. Glade Montgomery, thank you so much for being here. You are the Senior Vice President of Strategic Partnerships at Project Lead the Way. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
And then, of course, Amanda Beaton, you are the U.S. Program Manager at Siemens and deeply involved in education. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
I've gotten to chat with both of you on Zoom calls, so it's really exciting to get to speak with you here now in person at this event we've been building up to and leading up to for so long now. Glade, can you elaborate on Project Lead the Way and how it is transforming those teaching experiences and empowering students in the field of automation education?
Sure, Jana. Well, Project Lead the Way is a national STEM curriculum provider, and we have 3 programs of study: engineering, biomedical science, and computer science. And those pathways run from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And we just really think it's very, very important to be able to expose kids at an early age to the STEM fields. That's all part of workforce development and preparing kids for future careers, getting them exposed to the types of skills that they're going to need in those jobs in the future. And we just think that that's very, very important to start it at an early age.
That's right. And then Amanda, could you share a little bit about Siemens and your commitment to advancing the technical expertise of that future workforce through all of your initiatives?
Sure. So Siemens, of course, is a huge technology company. So I'm glad Glade talked about the K-12 space, because we really specialize in a little bit beyond that, in more community college, university, some high school, but really getting our factory automation products, hardware, software, tools related to advanced manufacturing. It's hard to even call it that anymore because there's so many terms, but bringing those tools into the classroom, bringing those into students' hands for projects, senior design, capstone type projects, and just really any sort of educational environment where we can bring products into students' hands. That's what we do.
So that they can actually realize what the work is going to be like when they go and get that first job out of college.
Really wherever they go to work, whether it's in the U.S. or globally, but they'll see those very same products in a manufacturing environment. So hardware or software, they have such an advantage to be comfortable with the technology and have experience with the technology, whether it's 1 semester or 4 years. So that's why we do it.
Because that is one of the challenges in this world of automation and robotics education. It's a STEM-related kind of field that you should go into to be able to work in this industry. So Glade, can you talk a little bit about Project Lead the Way and how you're emphasizing project-based learning?
Yeah, all of our curriculum we refer to it as APB, the Activity Project Problem-Based Approach, where kids are taking the skills and abilities that they've perhaps learned from another course, from a math or science course, and actually applying it in a setting separate from where they've learned it. But everything is very hands-on. The teacher really acts as a facilitator of learning, as opposed to the person just standing in front of the room disseminating all the knowledge. So kids are very involved in activities and projects, and then ultimately culminating in a problem that they're trying to solve. They work in groups, so they have to learn to collaborate and work with one another. Then typically at the end of a project or a problem, they're going to present their ideas. So those communication skills that they're practicing that are so invaluable in business and industry. So we really think that, through that approach, kids are learning skills like problem solving. I mentioned collaboration, communication, that ethical reasoning. We bring that into a lot of our coursework, so kids are thinking about using technology in the right way, which is always very important.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then Amanda, Siemens focused on fostering innovation in academia. How do you measure that success of your education initiatives in terms of, preparing students for the demands of the industry?
Yeah, that's hard. That's a tricky one. And because a lot of what Glade mentioned when you talk about creative thinking and problem solving and critical reasoning, I love that, and I love seeing that, because we see such a skills gap and a talent shortage, and no matter what field it is. So a lot of what the Glade's team is doing, and that project-based learning, I mean, it's critical thinking, not just for a STEM field. It's not really just to go into engineering. It's just, it really prepares students to problem solve. So I love that. That wasn't the answer to your question, but I was going to say I love that.
I love that
Those
too.
skills are applicable whatever they decide
I know,
to go into.
I love that.
So
but
true.
It's hard to measure. It's hard to measure innovation, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I like to see as many schools using Siemens products as possible, because they're using real automation hardware and software, real exactly what they would see in industry, instead of something else that they wouldn't necessarily see in a real environment. So that's really, we measure it very tactically that way, with instructors that are trained on Siemens and schools that are using it, and the number of students that are able to use Siemens products. But it's hard to measure innovation, and hard to measure, those students going to work in a field related to manufacturing or automation, and I mean AI and all those related technologies and disciplines. So it's hard to measure really and truly, but it's an investment. It's an investment that Siemens makes in just trying to get products into schools so that instructors and students are comfortable with what they'll see once they graduate and get out into industry.
Yeah, it's like that fostering that spirit of innovation that you really want to drive for.
And I think kids have to have what we refer to as a growth mindset. They have to learn to be able to adapt, because technology changes so quickly.
Right.
But I think if they're used to thinking critically and creatively, they can adapt to whatever new technology comes along.
And that's because you can put technology into schools, and we do it every year and across hundreds and hundreds of schools just in the U.S., but that technology changes. I mean, you can look around what we're seeing today, and I mean, what we were putting in schools last year, we're already seeing the next innovation and the next version. So you can't really learn just one product, just one technology, because then you're gonna be out of date in a year. So
Exactly.
it is that critical reasoning and that problem-solving approach that we like.
Absolutely. I think that's relatable across many industries and not just in the robotics and automation world. Thinking about, AI and some of those other emerging trends that are out there that we are trying to, capture and help the next generation figure out how to use and how to actually, build on top of what we already have, how they keep carrying that flag. What are some of those trends that you're seeing, and how are your organizations adapting to those?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think technology is always changing. Certainly AI is going to be a big component of the workforce and things that are coming in the future. I think for us, particularly if you're thinking about it in an early age, exposure to careers is just absolutely critical. We know that those careers are going to change over time, but showing kids what types of careers are available to them at an early age is absolutely critical. We oftentimes say kids can't be what they can't see, so we try to embed career connections in everything that we do starting at a very early age, so kids know the types of careers that are out there, but also understanding that those careers will change, and they have to be able to adapt to that.
Absolutely.
Right.
And you're at the cusp of innovation at Siemens, Amanda.
I love talking to teachers about the technologies that we have, because it is really cool. It's a cool opportunity to work with companies like Siemens, but it's hard to navigate. There's so many business units, so many divisions. So a high school teacher, a community college instructor, I think it's hard to approach Siemens or any company that's here today and, how do you work with schools? How do we use your products? It might be intimidating or difficult to navigate. But I think that's why our education program is so cool, because it brings core manufacturing products and projects, and they're modular, so they're based on chapters, so you can use 4 chapters over 4 weeks, or 4 chapters over a year, or 15 chapters, and the technologies, as they advance, our curriculum and the products we put into schools, they advance to mimic the very same things we're doing with industry. So we're starting to talk about, well, not really starting, IoT type things.
Right.
Our curriculum is now talking about IoT or AI or edge computing. So it very much mimics the technologies that you see in industry that we're presenting to our industrial customers.
That's awesome. Now, how do you see the role of automation education evolving in the ways that we actually practice that education in the classroom and communicate with the next generation effectively?
Yeah. I think automation is becoming more and more a critical piece, in particular of manufacturing. Today's manufacturing is not what my dad's manufacturing was. You know, it's not dark, dirty, and dangerous. It's very clean, it's highly skilled, it's highly technical. So I think exposing kids, again, at an early age and giving them the technical skills to understand that that's how business works today and that's how manufacturing works today is just absolutely important. So those technical skills, we try to embed the technology in all of the coursework that we have. You know, kids are either working on iPads, Chromebooks, computers. We start block programming at a very early age in elementary. So those skills are try to develop them over
Absolutely.
time.
Now let's talk about collaboration. So I'm here, you know, we're A3, we're the Association for Advancing Automation. We are really excited to be, we have the Education Pavilion. Again, this year it's bigger and it's better. We want to focus on this, not just here at Automate, but all year throughout different programs and partnerships. As you guys think about partnerships, you know, that with us, with each other, with other folks in education or industry, what are kind of the key tenets that make for a good collaboration and a good partnership in automation education?
And I'd say what's big for me and for Siemens is not necessarily the same as for other types of companies, but the communication and just letting educators know what's out there and letting students know what opportunities are there. So helping Siemens present that to schools on a grand scale like this is really, really helpful. And that's a pretty good part of collaboration for us. It's really just getting in front of all the educators that you guys work with and presenting to them all the benefits that Siemens brings to the table, but in an easy to approach way and easy to understand way.
I love that.
Yeah,
What
and
would you say?
I think partnerships are absolutely critical in that collaborative spirit, and certainly communication is a big part of that. We hear all the time that, you know, businesses have job openings that they can't fill.
Right.
And so making those connections and developing those partnerships, I don't think business and industry can wait until kids graduate from high school to begin trying to get them into their jobs. You know, I try to equate it to athletics. You know, when do college coaches start recruiting their athletes? You know, down in middle school, and business and industry shouldn't be any different. So that partnership, that collaboration has to really start down in the K-12 space.
So that you can really build those skills from the ground up and do the coursework that you need and go to the institutions, whether it be a university or a technical kind of training, skill training program.
Well, and communication, like you said, is so critical because just letting kids know what types of careers are available, what type of education is going to be needed,
Right.
What skills you need. If they know that, and the businesses can communicate that to the schools and to the kids, that's where we're going to.
And how cool it
grow the
is, right?
workforce.
Like you said, it's not 50 years ago manufacturing. I mean, this is pretty cool stuff, and it's really based on software and programming, and not just ladder logic programming or function block programming. I mean, it's open source programming, and that's how factories work nowadays. And it's I don't think everybody knows that, and parents and students just don't realize how cool it is.
Really, making parents understand that is a critical component.
What would we say now in closing to the kids and the parents out there? Get down here. Come on down to Automate. Come to the Education Pavilion. Amanda will be here, and so is Glade. We're really excited to have them here at Automate finally, and we're excited to be talking about education here at the Automate Live.